What is up, YouTube? Welcome back. Today I'm going to show you the last computer that I got from the e-waste haul that Chris and I went to about a week ago now. This is the final computer that I have yet to show you. This is an Imac G3 Dv SE, and this thing is from about 2009. It is in the lovely graphite color, as you can see here. Got this out of e-waste. Now this computer is a little bit special to me because the iMac G3 was my very first experience with a Mac and an Apple product. I got it when I was like 11 or 12 years old from one of my dad's friends who was just throwing it out, and he decided to give it to me since he knew I like computers. But that one was an Indigo, and I believe that one was a Summer 2000. This is the Imac Dv, which I believe did come out in 1999, that is, and the DV stands for digital video. And really all that meant was it just had a faster G3 processor because it was marketed as kind of like a video editing station. And of course it does have the slot load CD drive that is shared with the later iMac models, so I believe only the original 1998 model had the tray loading drive. But yeah, here it is. As you can see, it's in this nice graphite color. If I turn it, I'll turn it this way actually. You can see that the casing is graphite in color. That color was exclusive to the iMac Dv, and this is the SE model, which means it has the fastest 400 megahertz G3 processor. Of course, it is a CRT Mac. Of course, this was the very first Mac model that Steve Jobs came out with when he came back to the company, and this thing was a huge seller at the time. This computer essentially brought Apple back from bankruptcy. So it is a special Mac. Of course, we do have our slot load DVD drive in the front. Like I said, we have a power button and two headphone jacks, which is kind of interesting. Now, I know the Imac had that, but I wasn't actually aware that the original iMac kind of pioneered that. Of course, this is for like educational or like children's use, where two kids, I guess, can listen to the same thing if they're watching a video or playing a game on the computer. Two stereo speakers, which actually sound really good. I think these may be Harman Kardon speakers, but they're very nice. Moving down below, you can see we have a little stand, and you can actually flip that in if you want the computer to be more upright, but I have it out because the little tilted nature that it gives the computer is totally fine with me. If we move on to the left side, you can see we have nothing but that translucent case, or I guess semi-transparent, so you can see the inner workings of the CRT, the analog board, and the logic board, which is all the way at the bottom, along with the hard drive and the memory. Here we have a handle. Now, you really do not want to use these anymore. This plastic has become somewhat brittle over time. This one doesn't look like it's been used because there's no cracks in the plastic. If you try and lift it here, the acrylic plastic can actually crack in multiple spots, which happened to my original iMac because I didn't know any better. Moving around the back, you can see we have an Apple logo and a IEC power port down here. And then if we go around to the left side of the computer, or I guess the right in that case, we have all of our ports down there. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that we have a headphone and a microphone port. We have two FireWire 400 ports here, a 56K modem port, an interrupt, a reset and interrupt switch, which is actually nice. On the older Macs, of course, that was a separate accessory, but on the newer ones, it is present here, and I've already had to use this once, so there you go. We have two USB 1.1 ports here, and I believe this is most likely 10100 Ethernet. I think this thing's a little bit too old for gigabit, but there you go. And that's pretty much it as far as the external computer goes. There is a door on the bottom to access the memory, which only one slot is occupied at the moment, but I do have plans to put more RAM in it. And there you go. There's an exterior tour of the Mac, so I will go ahead and hook it up to power and a keyboard and such, and we'll go ahead and boot it up. Alright, the iMac is connected. Let's go ahead and turn her on. Now, when I got this computer, it did function, of course, but it seemed like the hard drive was dead, so we ended up replacing it. I had a spare 40 gigabyte IDE drive sitting in my closet, so we threw that in there, and we actually used a 4th generation iPod to load OS X Tiger on it, so that's what it is running. Of course, I apologize for the minor screen flickering that's happening in the video. Of course, that's just, you know, the frame rate difference between the CRT and the camera that I'm using, but it is what it is. Of course, we did find this nice Apple Pro keyboard in the e-waste along with it, and that would have been the keyboard that shipped with this machine, I believe. they started just shipping this Pro keyboard and probably the Pro mouse as well with the newer machines. But I do not have the mouse. Instead, I have this wireless Logitech mouse that we're going to be using for demonstration purposes. But as you can see, it is loading Mac OS X. It is running OS X Tiger 10.4.11. And if you look somewhat closely at the CRT, you may be able to tell that there is some minor burn-in. If it'll focus. You can see that kind of black line there, and that is actually just the screen from the old monitor or the old picture burned into the display. So this CRT does have a lot of mileage on it, but it is what it is. Of course, it's a little bit differently spaced because I actually finally adjusted the CRT how it should have been. The picture was quite a bit smaller than it needed to be. But yeah. Let me see if I can go ahead and turn the brightness down maybe on this monitor, or try and set it to 60 Hertz. That way we can actually see what is going on here. See if I can do that, because I believe it is set to 75 currently. Yeah, okay. Let me set it to... Oh, no, you can't. Okay, well, never mind. I'll turn the brightness down a little bit. That may help somewhat. But, yeah, there it is. Anyways, let me go ahead and zoom in on the screen a little bit so we can actually see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, right there seems okay. Anyway, with that out of the way, you can see we are booted to a nice Tiger desktop. I'll go ahead and go into about this Mac. And as you can see, it is version 10.4.11. We have a 400 megahertz PowerPC G3 processor and 192 megabytes of RAM. It originally had 128 when I got it, and I found a spare 64 gigabyte stick to throw in there. Now 192 really isn't all that much, and it does still run a bit sluggish on Tiger, but it is what it is. And then I believe for the graphics, it is some variation of the ATI Rage. Yeah, it's an ATI Rage 128 VR 8 megabyte graphics card in there. Now I believe people do end up doing like modifications, or you can actually do modifications to the hardware of this machine. I've even seen, I believe, G4 upgraded original iMacs, so that's kind of interesting. But I don't really have any plans to do anything like that. This is kind of just like a novelty, basically. I'm not actually going to use it for anything, but there you go. You can see the RAM there, and then if we go into no, not serial ATA, I'm dumb. Let's go into ATA. See if we can look at that hard drive. So there you go. It is a 40 gigabyte Seagate drive that I had in my closet. I'm not exactly sure what computer it came out of, but it works perfectly in here, and it's been sitting in my closet for years, like I said. And that is about it. I don't actually have anything on here. This is a clean install. I'm not exactly sure what it had on it before, but I actually connected it to the internet the other day and updated it because I believe we installed the original version of Tiger. But other than that, there's really not much else I can show you. Let's go ahead and flip through the applications and see if anything jumps out at me. Yeah, not really, but anyhow, I guess that's going to end the video. There's not really much else I can show you with this iMac, but that is it. It works, and it was free, so that is the upside. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching a video on this little iMac G3. I just intend to keep it around as a novelty, as part of my collection, because, as you might be able to tell, I have no shortage of old Macs. Or Windows computers, actually, down there. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.